It was another intense day for GM today. The company's CEO came under attack again in Washington. U.S. lawmakers demanding to know why the company took more than a decade to report defective ignition switches. The families of the victims and survivors of the crashes are looking for answers too, as Mike Armstrong reports.
Mary Barra's first appearance in front of this House subcommittee in April was a PR disaster. Over and over, she said she didn't have answers. She was new to her position.
This is a tragic problem that should never have happened.
Today, Barra pushed contrition and reaction. The company has fired more than a dozen people who she says should have flagged the ignition problem.
The 15 people that are no longer with the company are the people that either didn't take action they should or didn't work urgently enough to rectify this matter.
These switches were bad from the start.
Now, while the grilling of GM continues, so does the fallout. As of today, in 2014, faulty ignition switches have forced the company to recall about 6.5 million vehicles worldwide. Jostled keys on a bumpy road, for example, can turn the car off, shutting down the power steering, the power brakes, and the airbags.
Just in general.
Now, Barra was flanked today by a former U.S. attorney hired by GM to investigate the switch defect. Anton Velakis found there was no cover-up. For years, employees simply didn't see the problem as a safety issue.
They looked at this as a convenience matter, and they dealt with it that way.
Now, at the back of the room, families of the victims were again in attendance. Some who've lost loved ones, others who've had their lives irreparably damaged.
My son is left paralyzed from about his belly button down. He still has a feeding tube. He's got to live the rest of his life this way.
I suspect they will come out with a higher number.
The head of the Automobile Protection Agency says the death toll from the ignition problem will likely rise. Right now, GM links it to only 13 deaths. Some say it could be more than 100. Through this crisis, somehow GM's market share has not been affected.
It's incredible, but actually, to date, this does not seem to have had the same impact on General Motors' momentum as the Toyota sudden acceleration issue did in 2010.
Now, there may be good news for some consumers. GM has recalled a total of 20 million cars this year, the bulk of them for other problems. The APA says GM is taking advantage of this crisis to fix some issues that weren't on anyone's radar. Mike Armstrong, Global News, Montreal.